Yeah.
Just picked it. Okay, and he counters Lee Sin, so it's good. It's actually really good. Okay. I'm just gonna skip into the game.
Mm-hmm.
Your bias. Okay. Okay. Right now, like, this isn't too big of a deal, but like, see right there, that was Darius.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna tell you this for future games, and I'm only bringing this up because it's actually happened to me, but it's also saved me. Don't upgrade any skills until like the jungle camp spawns and you just you control Q. And the reason that I say that is because if they invade you or you're going to like walk around like that or whatever, imagine if they're all in that brush and Darius didn't upgrade a skill and then he gets apprehend. You're just dead. But if you have W, you can flash W, and even if they slow you, you can break slows. You can, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it doesn't cost you absolutely anything. Just don't upgrade a skill until you absolutely need it. And this doesn't just apply to jungle, it applies to all lanes. Because there might be certain situations where the opponent just makes a really big blunder, where you end up actually wanting another skill over something else. And to give you an analogy, imagine like you're Teemo and you're doing an invade and your allies really poke someone down really low. Now normally Teemo would get like E level 1 always, right, to start out his lane, but if you
Yeah.
get Q and flash forward Q, you'll get the kill. So because you didn't upgrade anything, now you can get Q level 1, flash, get the kill, and you can just take a little bit disadvantage in the CSing phase until you're level 2. For
Yeah,
a
makes
bigger.
sense.
Okay? So just never do that again. Don't upgrade a skill until it's absolutely necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Alright.
Is it right that I always try to go and seek in and see if where they start? So I might try to get their second buff. So if he starts blue, I see, okay, I can do red
Mm-hmm. That's
with
completely
Evelynn.
fine. That's completely
Okay,
fine.
that's
Yep,
good.
you can do that. Um, okay. And then you seem to like to take flash over ignite.
Yeah.
That's fine, especially against the Lee Sin, because Lee Sin, it can get a little bit sticky. But against much slower junglers and junglers that are very prone to getting counter jungled, like Fiddlesticks or like an Amumu, basically junglers that they're very unsafe in jungle duels, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
completely okay to take ignite. It's
Okay.
also okay to take ignite if you're blue side on Evelynn, because then you can really help out your top laner with how she can do the wraparound ganks. And what I mean by wraparound is just she comes into lane from the lane, walks through the brushes, and then she ganks from behind. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like they're like, how did you get there, sort of a thing, you know? Those are really good, and I hope that you do something like that in this game. Because wraparound ganks are the way to abuse Evelynn the most in lower elos. Okay, so you start red. This is fine, I guess. If you're gonna go for a gank top with Yorick, I
Yeah.
guess. Okay.
I do it. The problem was I get low mana on blue, but I barely do it.
Okay.
So
Now, when you
if I
see,
get invade there, I would die.
okay, when you saw Fizz just appear in mid, like before
Yeah,
the jungle
start.
camp even spawned, just smite faster.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Because then it enables you to be a little bit greedy. Now, your jungle path, I don't know exactly what you're going to do, but if you're going to go for red to blue, you can actually take wraiths over wolves and then just get blue camp, and that'll allow your mana to regenerate more, because you'll go actually
Mm-hmm.
into cloak. You'll go into cloak for a short while, and you'll end up getting about,
My passive, yeah,
right,
right.
your passive. You want your passive to
Oh yeah,
click.
okay.
So you'll get about 60 to 80 more mana, which really makes a difference in top lane, especially if Lee Sin opts to go something bizarre like blue to red to top, which is
Mm.
it is a possibility on a purple side Lee Sin. So just consider stuff like that. That little bit of mana really matters on early ganks with Evelynn.
Okay, yeah.
Okay. Also, when her E wears off, right? You want to be starter stepping in between every auto, because you'll minimize the damage going on to you, because Hate Spike is a ranged attack, right? So you want the wolves to have to chase you, and in between your auto attacks cooldown animation, if Hate Spike, or not Hate Spike, the E, the claw, If that's not active, like you don't have the attack speed buff or you've already used it, whatever, it's on cooldown, then just start stutter stepping, like backwards, like one step, Q, one step, Q, one step, Q. You'll notice that your HP actually ends up being more.
Okay.
That's just, it applies to all junglers, but Evelynn, I'm just pointing it out because of her E. So just don't do it while the E is active, but do it right after it wears off, the attack speed. Okay, here. Yep, you're checking on the lanes. Now you notice something to just be cognitive about. I'm just pausing to say this. Fizz is playing extremely passive, right? And it's around the 3-minute mark, and Fizz is actually sitting at tower. Now you can see that Zed's HP, just by looking at the avatars on the left-hand side, Zed's really, really healthy, right? And then if he's good, he's probably going to pop the ward down, relatively soon within the next 15 seconds. And that'll give you a really clear clue about if Lee Sin's going to try to make any plays on mid. And mid is looking like a very prone spot for a gank for Lee Sin right now, mostly because of how Fizz is being bullied, but also how Fizz is playing the lane. It doesn't look like anything's going to go down at bottom lane because just how the lane is freezing, their avatars and stuff. But in addition to that, it looks like Alistar and Tristan are like full HP completely. So don't expect anything like that. But so everything's fine. That all makes sense?
Yeah, that's gonna tell me in the chat in a few seconds, I think.
And see, this is what I was talking about. You're out of mana right now.
Yeah, right.
So...
pretty close.
Yep. And this is one of the issues with the red side start. Okay, so now what you should do is let your passive generate as much... Yep, do the wraparound. It's really nice. Evelynn will come. Okay. Nice, nice, nice. No, you did not need to flash. You did not need to flash.
Okay.
Okay, you don't need to flash there. He can't get away because the slow from the red is still active, and your W is active, and he doesn't have apprehend at that point. So there's really nothing to be worried about. Even if you were to take a tower shot, like somehow you have to chase him for like one extra hate spike into a tower, it's completely fine in consideration to your HP. Okay, so Lee Sin comes here. Okay?
Yes.
Now, this tells you his jungle path. And that's important because it lets you know where his gold is standing. This is always relative because sometimes you can time, like even if you haven't seen them in a while, sometimes you can time where their gold is standing based on relative jungle clamps that they should be clearing. So right now, if you know that his wraiths are dead and he goes over to right, it takes him about 30 seconds or so to get to right from wraiths, right? So wraiths are going to come up in about 30 seconds. So we know that his wraiths are gone. He goes over to right, and then he walks out of it. So about another, 8 seconds wasted. So we're at 38 seconds right now. So if he is to go back into his jungle, then he completes golems. About a minute has passed. He can re-hit wraiths. And then he can go to wolves and such. And because you know that that's his jungle path, you also probably know that he's either going to recall at wraiths or recall at wolves. And when you time that out, right, you can also time where he's standing at fountain, and then you can time his relative jungle path to the right-hand portion of the map because all the left-hand side jungle camps are down. And then you can time, relatively when he would eat golems or wraiths. In consideration, of course, if he doesn't succeed on a gank or anything.
Well, he's gonna die there.
Okay, so, nice. This is nice. And red buff takes it.
Yep.
Really good. Really, really good. Okay. I would go in and take golem away from him over wraiths.
Yeah. Would be better because I do the race and then I see him at golems.
Right, right.
They have to escape.
Now Fizz is missing. You should be tabbing more often, additionally, to see the CS of the lanes, because that can also tell you a lot. Because CSing, it doesn't just tell you where a person's standing gold-wise, it also tells you where they're standing in terms of recall in consideration to their build. So, like, you do the math that 12.5 CS or whatever is a kill, right? Technically. But anyways, you do like 10 CS is 200 gold, right? So you take CS times X equals Y, right? And Y equals total gold count, whatever. And then when you factor that in to say, Fizz comes back to lane with a Sheen, right? And you factor that into his gold count, and you know that he might have about 100 gold left over, but then you saw that he bought like 2 wards or 2 reds and a blue. That's a little bit weird, so you know that he probably maximized all of his gold. So he needs about 800 gold or so before he can recall again. So you know that Fizz will be in that lane until he hits that gold count, right? So there's, 6 minions per wave, and then you do the math on the gold counts that they give, and it can tell you how much that player will be in the lane. And once you just get these memorized in your head, like mathematical, it's just like timing summoners. You know what I mean? Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah, it's interesting. Okay.
Okay. That's why CS counts can be a little relative. Okay, so he comes straight to golems. So Lee Sin
Yeah.
wanted to go golems to wraiths to potentially gank to wolves. That was probably his thought process for going there. So in the end, it ends up being beneficial that you steal the wraiths. But I think had you gone to golem and then to wraith, it would be better.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. So we just saw Lee Sin, right? Up here. I'm gonna go into MSpaint
Yeah.
for this.
Like,
Oops, sorry. Okay, MSpaint. Alright, so now that we're in here, okay. So Lee Sin just appeared here, right? So it's gonna take him about 5 seconds to get to wolves, right? And then you can estimate that about maybe 10 seconds to clear it, when factoring his Q, his Z, if he uses smite or whatever. But he might, well, of course he didn't use smite because he had to clear the wraith camp, which you left. Now there's no big creep there, he's not
Yeah.
gonna use smite, so he has smite up. So he's gonna smite this, and then in the jungle timer, wraiths aren't gonna be up for about a minute. Now the fact that you saw him in mid, you can subtract 5 seconds from that, and you know that that's the timer on wraiths, right? Because you know that he cleared it. So then you factor that in, and then you minus 45 seconds again, and that's roughly the timer on golem. So you know that he's not going to be on this side of the map for about a minute and 15 seconds, roughly. So all his ganking vicinity right now is going to be on mid in this location, and to do something on bot lane. Right?
Okay.
Pretty basic thought process. So you have
Yeah.
two options. You can either tell bot lane this, or bot lane can recognize it themselves. You can just like ping it and say, whatever. I noticed that you say it in chat, which is really good. Where Lee is. That's really, really good. A lot of people don't do that. You can basically just tell bot lane to play passive, and then you can do another wraparound gank on top and end the lane. You know what I mean? Because right now, Yorick is ahead of Darius, and if Yorick gets a super lead, then the lane is just going to end. And if you can make a purple side top lane, lane end, that puts a ton of pressure on the purple side jungle, because he has a very tough time continuously ganking bottom, just because of the way the dynamics work. Purple side is going to have favor ganking top and mid, because it supports the most jungle creeps, in consideration to also the easiest maneuverability when trying to gank the lanes. Like, he has 6 paths coming into mid, technically, right? And then on top lane, he has, technically, like, 4 paths, and then he has lane brush ganks. So you really want to think about that when fighting up against a purple side jungle. Does that all make sense?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Let's go back in. Yep, you have music on. Okay. Now you have blue buff, so you can use your W to move around the map. You don't have to just keep walking around. Even though your passive's up, it's a little bit overkill, because you're consistently at full mana almost. So just use your W to move around the map, clear camps faster, whatever. Just use it at your novelty.
Okay.
Okay, so you recall. Pick up Sightstone. And boot. Okay, nice. Okay, nice recall. Nice recall. Okay. Now, here's what I don't agree with. Okay, so it's been about, it's been about 30 seconds, right? Since you cleared right, you cleared wolves, you cleared wraiths, you recalled, right?
Yeah.
Now, Lee Sin cleared wraiths, and he cleared right. Now, if he's waiting for a gank at bottom, then he's there right now. And with this composition, Tristana Alistar, you can't get a kill against Jinx, Thresh, Lee. You can't win a 3-on-3. Even though you have the boots, the Spirit Stone, and the Fiendish Codex, you can't win a 3-on-3. So you don't even want to do it. You just want, right now, you want to put a lot of pressure on mid, and you want to force Lee Sin out of position. Because if you come to mid, then you can also break left, because now you know that the golem is up, and the wraiths are up. So you want to synergize your ganks, but also you want to synergize your counter jungle at the same time, right? And then by appearing mid and breaking left, by showing Fizz or showing yourself on the minimap breaking left, you apply pressure to top lane. Because we see Darius is shoving, right? He's really comfortable right now for some reason against a Yorick, even though he got first blooded. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. So this would enable Yorick to then farm safely. And if you like hit F5, you would go to Yorick's screen. You can see how the minions are. You can see how the CS is pushing, the waves and everything. And that would just be really good for you. Even if you don't succeed in a gank, you can still get a counter jungle off because you know Lee Sin is in that vicinity somewhere. And you apply a lot of pressure to top lane by doing nothing other than appearing in mid.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Do you have like a question on that? Okay. Great. So we're gonna hit play. Another thing that you should do. I told this to the support player, Thresh, that you saw the video of. When you succeed in a gank or you are involved in a gank or something like that, just time the opponent summoners. Not like all the ones on the map, whatever, but time the summoners. Yeah, it doesn't really cost you anything, and you're moving around the map a lot. You can afford to type. So right here you get the golems, and this is kind of nice. Okay. Now I wouldn't. Okay, that's fine. I wouldn't have activated W so early. I would have waited a little bit in case Jinx used her slower earlier, but she didn't. Because then you could use the W to break it. But see, you almost die there. Like, even though you guys almost get the kill, you're probably not going to get it. And if you do get it, it's because they make a huge blunder rather than it be an acceptable thing. And if Lee Sin is there, you would have died.
Yeah, right.
So it's just the lane dynamics. So, you know, you have to basically think about that. Alistar is, you know, he's a babysit champ. Or he's a babysit support. So the thing that I would have done differently, or, you know, in my opinion would have been a better choice, would have been to go mid, show mid, counter jungle, because we know the Wraith camps and the Golems were coming up, and Lee Sin has to go on that side, and you had the recall advantage. So you had Fiendish Condex, Spirit Stone, and you had the boots over Lee Sin. Right? So you would win the straight up 1v1 duel. Right? You can also win the Smite War because you're a level ahead. So he can't outsmite you at Wraiths or something. So you can also steal a jungle camp from him, and that really, really hurts because he's already behind.
So I should more counter jungle and pressure Lee Sin.
Well, okay, so you've made sure that top is basically winning, right? Or it should be winning. Okay? Bot lane is going even, and we know that Zed is bullying Fizz, just because we've seen, you know, him constantly shoving the lane, Fizz is constantly hiding behind tower, there's wards on both sides, Zed is feeling really, really comfortable, and it's kind of hard for Fizz to get a kill on Zed. So when all your lanes are winning, all that you need to do is consistently counter jungle and keep the enemy jungler preoccupied, because if your laners are winning, they don't need you, but the enemy team needs their jungler, right? So if you can keep the jungler pinned down, then, you know, you're completely fine. If you can stay inside the opponent's jungle, then not only does your team know where the jungler is at all times, but you're also putting a headache on him, because now if he fails a gank, he doesn't have camps to go back to. Right? So when you get ahead, rather than continuously ganking lanes and stuff, just start applying psychological pressure and do a lot of counter jungling if the matchup supports it, which Evelynn versus Lee Sin, it does. And your mobility right now, by having boots, Fiendish Codex, Spirit Stone, and your W, there's no reason to have gone bot. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he saw me there.
Okay, now I wanna go over something, because I just thought something as you're moving into the lane.
Lee Sin was top bot, by the way.
Alright. What do you notice about Fizz's angling in the lane?
He's near my side.
He's near your side. Right, correct. And what is the game timer?
It's 7, yeah.
Okay, it's blue.
Actually, blue should be up, yeah.
Blue should be coming up soon. And Fizz is angling himself to the bottom right-hand side. So Lee Sin's about to gank bot. If he's not about to gank bot, then he's somewhere in near wolves, but it doesn't make sense for Fizz to be... Here, I'm gonna go into paint. Okay. Get my colors. Oop. Okay. Now, Fizz was angling herself down here, right? like, and Zed was over here. Now, this doesn't make sense if Lee Sin is at Wolves. And the reason that I say that is because Wolves doesn't have enough protection time to protect this kind of angling. Especially not when the CS is, like, this far out. You know what I mean? It doesn't really make too much sense. What does make sense is if Lee Sin is somehow in the jungle, or if Lee Sin's here, or he's in this brush waiting. Or not in the jungle, in the river. And the reason that I say that is because then Fizz is going to feel very comfortable if Lee Sin has control of the river. Because Lee Sin must have probably just come from this route. I'm drawing the big green. Let me just use yellow, actually. If Lee Sin came from... Oop, that's not yellow. Okay. If Lee Sin came from here, right, and went into river somewhere, Fizz is going to feel really safe with this angle. Because, you know, Fizz is going to know Evelynn is not in this vicinity. Because by coming out of this, if you were to try to come into this brush, Lee Sin would spot you, etc. So... you should know by Fizz's angling that psychologically Lee Sin is probably on that side of the map and that he's probably in the locations that I just outlined. And of course we see him show up in bot, but that's what I'm thinking. Just based on Fizz's movement. Darius shoving lane like this consistently, I would F key more often and see like what's going on because we see Yorick's HP and his mana, and that's a little bit bizarre considering we gave him first blood. But yeah.
Yeah, I should get used to it.
Yeah.
Using the F keys.
So, okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay. Things got the... I would go to right now and just wait for Lee Sin.
Okay.
That would be... Well, you end up picking up double kill, but they shouldn't be staying through this. The fact that Tristana's moving into them and like she's not CSing when there's CS in the front line, that's more so Thresh and Jinx being bad rather than that being a correct call. And like I said in the videos that you watched, just because something works, it doesn't mean that it's the right play. And as you go up in elo, as you climb, if you continue to make that choice, you'll end up losing or you'll plateau. So I would go to right. And I can almost guarantee you Lee Sin would go to right. You'd wait for him to Q onto right, and then you would try to, you know, sneak in with a WEQ and try to get the kill on him because his HP is relatively low, and you know he wants to recall after that successful gank because he wants to pick up his jungler right. Okay, so you get Dragon. You should time it.
Yeah, do it.
Do you? Okay.
Later. Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't, you know, you can time it later. Okay, there you go. Nice. 14, yep. And then I actually feel like you could have picked up golems before recalling because the reason that I say that is you still had relatively okay HP and mana, so you can clear them relatively fast without having to like micro or kite or anything like that. You also know that Dragon just got cleared and that your Alistar just got back to lane, but Tristana is going to end up wanting to recall. So there's not going to be any gank potential anymore at bot. So you want to just clear off and maximize the efficiency of your bottom side jungle before recalling, because now that camp is essentially dead for a little while. It's not going to be being used. And obviously, as soon as you recall, you also have to go straight to blue because you have to give Zed. You have to give Zed blue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I didn't give him blue, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. And then always BWing. Okay, nice. You W'd. Okay, so you see Darius has a Negatron against Yorick. I mean, alright. Sometimes in situations like that, where Zed is pushing and there's the CS wave and you ping on to Fizz, obviously Fizz isn't going to take the bait, but what you can type in chat sometimes, in Korean there's a word, nakshi, which means like bait, but it's used in different ways to basically imply to make a mistake. So you can like tell Zed to purposely make a mistake to get Fizz to jump. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, sure.
That actually works really well in solo queue. As you go up in the tiers, sometimes they can read up, you know, they can read into it better and stuff, but for now I would actually start doing that. You know, you can tell, like, to coordinate ganks better, tell them to purposely make mistakes or purposely eat skill shots, because it might make the enemy laner feel comfortable, and that's all what it's about. It's a big mind game when you're playing jungle. Okay. So here, right now, it's 9:45, right? So we know Lee Sin has probably cleared the red, right? Now, did you check and see if Fizz had blue on her?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You should check and see if Fizz has the blue rings around her. If she doesn't, then blue might be up. I mean, you have a ward on it, but I can't see if the ward is seeing blue. You know, like it's not clearing on the map, but
Yeah,
yeah.
right.
You don't need ult here. You don't need ult to kill him. I wouldn't even waste ult on him. If you can ever not waste your ultimate or flash, never do it. Jeez. Yorick, like...
Yeah, and
That was Yorick's fault. That was
estimated
Yorick.
his damage.
Well, no. That was Yorick's fault. That was Yorick's fault.
Okay.
I can go over that if you want. Yorick right here, like, you see how he's turning left? Like, you can see his direct input. So he's probably clicking somewhere over here. So he's direct inputting left when he should be direct inputting right. And if he's direct inputting right, you know, he would already be on top of Darius right now. Or he would be relatively close to it. So when you're here, now you need to W right here. You need to have the W going. Because Darius, while he can slow you with the W, you just need to get off the E and the Q faster. Because right now you're essentially missing... Like, Darius's HP should already be, like, half of that. Right now. This is before he even flashes. If you W. So you just want to close the gap really fast. Because as soon as you get the kill, the W is going to reset. And you're not really worried about Darius's W slow because you have flash up.
Yeah.
Okay? So, Wing so late is, like... Yeah, like, he should be dead right now. Right now. Before he lands his ultimate, he should have died. Does that make sense? Do you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. But Yorick made a mistake too. Okay.
And I didn't waste. I also wasted flash.
Yeah.
Yeah, not so good.
Not too good. Not too good. And you lost your buff, right?
Yeah.
Or did Yorick
also.
get it? Did Yorick get it or
No,
because Darius died before? Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was not very good. Okay. So Lee Sin was going up through... Okay. He lands that. Wow, Tristana died without... Okay, so yeah, Lee Sin was going up. He's going to go to Golems. Alistar goes down. You can go in with Zed. I mean, Yorick's here too. Nice. That was really, really nice. That was really nice. Nice. Every time you get the kill, activate W. Because it stacks.
It stacks?
Yeah.
I mean the cooldown, or... In which case?
So you get the kill, W, or kill or assist.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just spam it, spam it. You want to be moving like the fucking speed of light. So anyways, you help push out this lane. It's acceptable that... Yeah, okay, I was going to say kill the tower, which you're doing. But now Fizz is here, so you kind of have to back off. Like, right now you're wasting time. Like, you're clicking back and forth, you're not really doing anything. This is like 10 seconds that's being wasted. That, plus a W, and you're at Golems right now. So, you should already be killing Golems. But it looks like you're going to come up and get a timer on blue.
Yeah, I wanted a ward, and then I run into Fizz.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, right here, I mean, I'm sure you know, but you have to wait for Fizz's slows to be done, and then activate W. Or wait until it's active and then break it. I don't think you can live there, but yeah. But going for the ward on blue isn't completely necessary because you know Fizz was just there. You also know that Fizz had a delayed blue because we saw that in mid lane just by checking on her. So she has a delayed blue, so it's not going to be coming up at like 12:15 or anything like that. So there's no reason to be warding it. So it's better in this case, especially because you have the jungler item and you have to get the 30 ability power out of it, to have just gone golems, wraiths, and then your red would have came up. Okay, and then after your red comes up, you only have about another minute and a half until dragon. So, you know, timing out the jungle thing's a little bit better. So
that's my problem, I think. Getting the balance between farming and ganking and the passing. Yeah.
So right now, Fizz is recalled. All right. So now, what are you thinking? Like while you're doing red camp, what's one information tool that you can be thinking or doing that most players at your LO are not doing right now?
Well, I know Drake is soon up and bot is pushing.
Okay, dragon's soon up and bot's pushing.
Yeah.
Okay, Fizz right now is still at fountain, right? And I'm gonna hit play. And Fizz is walking off the steps. Fizz is passing Nexus. Fizz is passing towers. He's using Playful Trickster or whatever again. He's passing tier 3 tower. He's reaching tier 2 tower. You're just timing his movement speed. And he's about to reach tier 1 tower. And then depending on where he's going, he's about to come back into lane, or he's going to show up at dragon, because there's the dragon towers. So Fizz should come back on... Yeah, okay.
I pinged Jinx there, thought we can kill her with that ult and my ult, but...
Yep.
Yeah, Fizz was there after
So-
a few seconds.
So you can time the movement speeds, and that's important because if there is some sort of timing opportunity, whether it's a camp or a dragon or something like that, it's always good to know where players are potentially standing on the map. So learning the movement speeds of champions is something that you should definitely do, and it doesn't take much effort. You can just take like a friend, go into single player, and just have them walk champions across the map, and then just get the feel for it.
Okay.
Because that also helps with early game jungle shenanigans where like a counter jungle might go on, or you got the first, like, imagine when you killed Lee Sin. Like, you can know when he's going to show up at golems, or you can know when he's going to show up at wraiths, you know, just by calculating his movement speed and knowing that he's going to go there. So it's kind of like map hacking, almost, in a way. Here I would W to get to Darius as fast as possible, and then I would walk around the golems through the... Oh, nice. I wouldn't W that early. I don't W until you're...
a little bit too early, I know.
Okay. You got the kill, though, so all is well. I would actually try to run there and smite it with
I
W.
was slow on mana. Oh, you mean... Okay.
Yep. I would try to just run and get the smite off. Even if you don't, you're ending up having to recall anyway. Right now, you have an option to wait in this bush and pull up mana and hope that someone comes to try to kill Yorick, because Yorick has ulti up.
Yeah, Fizz and Lee were coming, I think.
Okay.
So I was a bit scared, bringing him back.
Okay, Lee Sin's here.
Yes, Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, stop Wing so early and stop
Yeah,
Wing
it's
so
not-
late. Yeah, you gotta use
Yeah.
it more strategically.
Oh god, I did a mistake there. I don't know why I did that.
You don't have the mana, sadly.
I did. Yeah, I don't know what's that.
Almost. It's
Wait,
okay, Zed.
I attacked the
Yeah.
tower too
It was
late.
all planned. Yeah, you attacked the tower too late, but Yorick also miscoordinated that with you. You guys could have killed him. I think you should have just pinged him, and Yorick should have just cast his ulti on you. Like,
Okay.
in worst case scenario, you get him, you get the tower. Dragon, you know, you don't have any business being top lane at that point. Like, and the reason that I say that is because we know Dragon, you know, is coming up. So after you guys get the kill after you kill Darius, right? Yorick should just shove the lane. You should recall. You should get tier 2 boots and run straight to Dragon.
Yeah, Dragon was gone.
Because
there.
Dragon's more important. The top laner is dead, the lane is shoving, the tower's relatively low on HP anyway. You don't actually have to solidify the kill on it. But the fact that you elect to stay, then you have to solidify the kill on it because you have to trade top tower for Dragon because it's relatively the same gold.
Okay.
Stop Wing so early! They might try to... like, Thresh might keep chasing Alistar, right? And then Thresh, you know what I mean? Like, if he keeps chasing Alistar, that's a really quick kill, right? Because Jinx is actually further back. So if you get the quick kill on Thresh, you reactivate W, you know, and
Okay.
you're more likely to get both. I mean, you end up getting both, which is fine. But again, it's more so because they made a mistake. I mean, it's good that you got both kills, you know, but it's better to not W that early. Okay, so here you... Okay. This is... Wow. Okay, you get the tower. Okay. That's fine. That's actually fine. That's fine. You trade yourself for a tower. You didn't have any buffs or anything, so it's not like it's the end of the world. Yep, sell both potions and get the needlessly large. Nice. Now blue's up. So right now, one of the main things you have to work on is your jungle control timing, your buff control. Because if you start going up against, like, you climb tiers, you go up against high diamond junglers, you go to that blue right now, it's gone.
Yeah, right.
Unless certain circumstances are going on, like Lee had to be bottom, which he just was. But in higher elos, you'll notice that people die less, for instance, and because people die less, usually that's why solo kills are so rare, basically in pro games or amateur games, whatever. And it's mostly because junglers are needed to get kills or solidify kills because the players are so good. And because of that, jungle control, objective control, buff control, it's all so crucial. Nice. That was really nice. I mean, bot shoving so hard right now. But Alistar's there too, and Fizz showed up there. That to me would almost warrant a Baron call. To be completely honest, I mean that's gonna sound really
Oh,
yeah, that's gonna sound really
okay.
weird. But basically, okay, so who did they just lose? They lost their top laner, which is their tank CC, and they also lost Lee Sin, right? So they don't even have smite up. They also probably don't have vision control because if they were that deep into your jungle, you know what I mean, and then they get caught completely out of position, it doesn't really make sense. Like, so you probably know that they don't have any vision control on that side. You also know that Jinx and Thresh have been bought the entire game. So there's no wards coming out of Jinx or Thresh. And if you're tabbing more frequently, you can also keep tabs on if people are buying wards and stuff. And if people were buying wards like Fizz or something, he probably used them on the right-hand side of the map because that was dragon timing. So they probably don't have any wards on the left-hand side. So that could have been a sneaked Baron, maybe. Because you have Zed's DPS. I mean, Yorick ended up dying, but yeah. Does that make sense though? The thought.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I think it's yeah.
Okay.
It's risky, but okay, they can't see me, right?
Okay. So and yeah, Yorick running teleport. Okay. So bottom, they're fighting, and you guys, right? You make the right choice to get mid, and then after you get mid, what should you do?
Yeah, I was going bot, I think, but
Well, you can go bot to try to get a cutoff, right? But if you
yeah,
look bot, Yorick is probably going to get the kill on Jinx. And if he can, then he'll probably get the kill on Thresh. You don't need to be
okay.
there for it, because if you kill Jinx and Thresh, what do you actually get off it? Well, if we look at the lane, I mean, it's shoving for you guys. So if you do get the kills, and then Fizz is relatively low, then you also get bottom turret, right? But you don't need to be there for that, because these kills, all of them right now, except for, well, I guess Jinx.
Right, at the end, Yorick died.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know how it's
They
possible.
all would have died to Zed, right? You
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
need to be there. So because you didn't need to be there, you could have just gone to top lane right after killing mid tower. You could have killed the golem. You could have gotten the stack onto your jungle item. Go top lane, shove top lane, because you know all the attention is going to be focused in bot lane. Okay, mid is shoving.
Yeah.
And you know bot lane, you're gonna kill the opponents, right? So you shove top lane to turret, you kill the golem, right? And then you have total, like, I'm gonna go into paint. Okay. Okay. Sorry. New. Go into paint. Okay. So you guys would have this controlled. Now you know that there's no wards anywhere over here. You know that this whole area is wardless right now because they're simply they just can't have warded it. Right? With the fights that they've been picking, the fact that they made the huge blunder about a minute ago on the left-hand side of the map, no one's been in this side of the map for about a minute and a half. You know that there's no wards, okay? So if you shove this lane, right, all the way to tower, okay, you take golem, you can cycle back down, you get wraiths, and then you can drop a ward in here because your ward trinket's up, okay? And then this lane is shoving all the way to tower. You've effectively stolen all this vision. They're completely blank on what's going on. And Dragon came up at what? Was it 1454? 1554? So if you look at the timer, after all is said and done, Dragon's going to be coming up soon. And you can get the necessary wards down everywhere. You can get the ward here, you get the ward in this lane. After they're doing the pressure on the tower, they fall back through blue, get the ward in blue brush. Right? Because we know that blue didn't come up at 12:15, so it's probably coming up at 13:15 or 14:15, right? Somewhere around that area. So we're getting really close to like 2015. right?
Yeah.
So there's like a lot of objective and buff control to be doing, and if you shove this lane, no one can come to it right now. No one can come to this because not only do they have multiple people down, Jinx is down, Thresh is down, Lee Sin's down, Fizz is down. They can't send anyone top. So when everyone recalls based on the death timers, who are they going to send top that they can afford to not have at Dragon? No one. And if they elect to send Lee Sin or Fizz or something top, well, Lee Sin's going to be gimped because you stole his jungle camps, right? So he's going to go top, and you've effectively negated like 40% of usefulness that he could have been doing. Just by shoving a lane. And then also having the lane shoved when you still have the tier 1 tower up, that's a really, really big problem for them. Because that basically means that if they break even in Dragon, right, they still can't capitalize on anything. And the fact that you're still up in objective on top lane is real. It's like a thorn. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure you've been in games where it's like 30 minutes in and you guys are doing Baron dances and they still have a tier 1 top tower up. It's really annoying because right now we're getting into the point where Dragon's about to come up, and then depending on how the Dragon fight goes, there's probably going to be one more recall, right? Top is going to continuously shove. Bottom is going to be shoved for about 3.5 minutes or so, if you just let the minion waves do their stuff, right? Maybe in about 3.5 minutes, the wave would be right around here, where I'm drawing. Okay. And because of that, Dragon's down, right? You're going to have the wards here, you're going to have the wards here, and then you can get a ward here, all right? What becomes the last remaining objective? Well, blue buff is going to be gone. Their blue buff. Their red buff's going to be gone. Your buffs are going to be gone. You guys are going to do the dance in mid. It becomes the fight for Baron. And by having this tier 1 tower up, and by having the lane constantly shoved, not only does the minions provide you vision and utility, if they try to break through and split through the topside jungle, you also have a tower to fall back to. You know what I mean? So if like a Baron fight goes bad, you can fall back to the top tower. Which, you know, sometimes isn't, you know, that's not a normal scenario, but in this case it is. So because of that, that's why, literally all of these reasons is why after you and Zed kill mid tower, you go top. Because this is all like stuff that is 4 to 6 minutes into the future that is affected by that one decision.
Yeah.
Okay? Is that, do you have questions on that?
No, I think it's good explained.
Okay. All right. Go back in. Alright. So now you guys kill the minions. Darius is the only thing standing in your way. Tristana's yesing really slow. Now right now, see, all of you are here. Alistar is recalling, and now what do you gain by coming bot? I mean, we kind of see the aftermath.
Yeah, wasting time.
Nothing, yeah. Oh, Lee Sin wasn't dead. I thought Lee Sin was, unless he just, I thought Lee Sin died. Maybe I'm just, oh, Jinx, Thresh, Fizz. Okay, alright.
Yeah.
Alright. Yeah, see, this is like a big waste of time right now. I mean, top is getting shoved, but you could have probably had that tower at like half HP. And now look, Yorick has to like walk up. He's being really slow. It's like a Monday morning for him right now, and he's going to top lane, and he's going to be met in like 5 seconds by someone showing up in top.
Yeah, this is there.
Yeah. So, you know, like it's really obvious. So there was a lot of lost opportunity.
Yeah.
You guys didn't capitalize anything off that. There was so much more. Like right now, we see that now bot is shoved back because you guys elected to stay. You drew attention to bot lane rather than top lane. So it enables the minions to be reshoved by their protectors or, you know, champions, whatever. So bot lane's enabled to be reshoved because you drew attention to it. Mid is fighting back, and this is where you guys should have came mid, right? To do the fight in mid. So you clear all the minions in mid. You dance at mid, you break off into Baron, and now look at top lane. It's completely pitch dark.
Yeah.
So that one choice has set you guys like 2 minutes into the past. Not 2 minutes, but you've lost out on 2 minutes. Okay, so Fizz goes down, and Zed goes down. So you guys trade mid laners. Drake in 20, okay. Now, because Drake is in 20, and you're going top to kill Darius, you're not tabbing enough, by the way, to check on items. Okay, you DFG, ulti, and kill. And Yorick got the assist, yep. And you guys ping Dragon. You should tell Yorick to stay top. You should tell Yorick to stay top.
I should maybe go top with him, actually. Come too late to Drake. I was thinking about
no,
that.
I think you should fight Dragon. I mean, they need you there. They need you there to live. You come to Dragon, York diverts the attention in top lane. Now Fizz, now see, you're not checking the tab timer again. You check the tab timer on Fizz, you can kind of alert York when Fizz is going to show up. And if it's, what's the death timers right now? They are 30 seconds. Okay, so Fizz is going to show up in top lane in maybe like 5 seconds or something. That would be my guess. Unless Fizz like took a really awkward path. Okay. Oh, there. Okay, there it is. So, yeah, you should have alerted him. And you can do that just by watching the death timer. Your whole goal in jungle is just to keep tabs on all the enemies, of course, and help your teammates with that too. Yeah, okay. So right now they're shoving back mid. They're going to kill mid. And you didn't take a look at their mana and HP right as they killed tower, because that can tell you a lot about like what they're going to do. Are they going to split into wraiths? Are they going to split into wolves? Are they going to go back into their jungle, get some creeps? Or are they too low, they have to recall? Because if they have to recall, it tells you, again, like, okay, then now I can go in and I can ward their wraiths, because I know I'm not going to be met by Jinx or Thresh. I know they might not be waiting. I'm not going to have to risk getting hit by a hook or like the trap things that Jinx has or anything like that. So that's important. Always be looking at the enemy's HP and mana as they take objectives, because it tells you a lot about their next move. Okay, you drop a nice ward, and now you're going on to the right side of the map. Now, this doesn't totally make sense. Drake's already been captured, and we know by the timer that blue buff's not going to be up anytime soon. So Alistar and Tristana going bottom doesn't really make sense. I mean, I guess shoving it back out is kind of okay, but you have a Zed and a teleport York. Zed should start split pushing, and you should tell him that. And if he's not going to do it, you should start doing it. Because right now you guys you're even on objectives. Okay, well, Zed ends up getting nuked. But this is the problem, is you guys can't engage in a team fight, and Lee Sin has a Guardian Angel. So if you guys take a team fight right now, okay, top is being shoved, and bot is breaking even, and mid is being slight shoved. It's being soft shoved, I would call it. If you lose any one of your guys, okay, you're going to end up losing another objective because of how the lanes are pushing. So because of that, you guys need to play refugee style. One of you needs to go bottom lane, one of you needs to go top, and the other three just need to sit at tower and stall, because that's the greatest thing that you can do right now. Yorks can stall at tower all day. Alistar's knock up and his knock back, they can't really dive onto Tristana, and then Tristana's ultimate, they can't do anything. And then, because top is now reshoving, sort of, you can see that big clump of minions. If you shove with that, and then you have the ward at Baron, you have the ward at Wraiths, it's really easy for you to out-juke, people that will try to collapse on you with 2 or 3 members. And then Zed can just safely shove back bottom, and then slowly York, Tristana, Alistar can shove out mid. And if they don't want to do this, you tell them that, and you just initiate it. Okay? Don't be afraid to, chat, sentences in solo queue. It's not, a bad thing. Ugh.
Yeah, another big mistake now. I don't know.
Oof.
Actually fighting alone with...
Yeah.
Yeah.
The big Agony's Embrace was really nice. But yeah,
that's ending with a lost.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. Oh.
Okay, inhibitor lost, and now we see Fizz, no HP, no mana, right? So you got home guard, and oof.
I mean,
you guys, if you can win
Jinx.
this fight, then you would be able to get Baron.
I don't see why Tristana is not going on Jinx in this moment, but yeah.
Okay, then you're back up. You shouldn't activate W, because it shows you. You should just let the home guard run its course, and then get as close to them as possible, and then W.
Okay.
Because then, again, you're remaining in cloak, you have home guard on, that's really scary. Yeah, and you W'd again. I mean, I know that you're trying to get close as fast as possible, but technically the same distance is going to be crossed. It's just the cooldown won't come up as fast, but you would rather have... yourself come up as the last second rather than get there sooner but be visible. Or not, I mean, get there at the same time but be visible. You'd rather trade being invisible for longer cooldown than it, being off cooldown when you arrive,
Yeah.
or slightly after you arrive. Okay, so now you have DFG, you have Sheen, which is good if you're running the AD or the hybrid runes. Always get Sheen, of course, before Blasting Wand. I don't know if you just got it because of a...
No, I actually do it first.
Okay, good, yeah. Because it's higher damage output, of course.
Yeah.
Okay, and now you're kind of wandering around. Yorick, oh god, what is he doing? Now this is the problem, is they have full control of your jungle, so obviously Baron is an entirely big possibility right now. Shoving top lane. So in this situation, how do you come back, or how do you organize some sort of a comeback, right? Oddly enough, Zed has to... This is like a really awkward thing. You're going to have to surrender Baron, because they're just too far ahead right now, right? They have total map dominance. Mid is being entirely shoved. There's super minions coming down mid lane. The minions on both sides are buffed, because the inhib is down. So you need to get a pick, but you can't really get a pick because Darius is too tanky, Lee Sin has Guardian Angel, Thresh is too tanky. You don't want to blow everything on Thresh. So your only options left is to try to get a pick on Fizz or to try to get a pick on Jinx. And the only way to do that is to have... You can potentially have Yorick split push because he has teleport up, and you can kind of... let me go into Paint. Get my colors. Okay. So watch on the minimap. So if they're in Baron pit, right? Your angling has to come from this area. If you're going to be standing anywhere. You can't come in from here because you need a clear cut, like straight to the throat pick at a Baron dance. Or if they're disengaging, you have to be coming in from this way anyway, because you have to be completely isolated from your team, almost as if you're playing it like a Kha'Zix that's like trying to come in and just get in, get out. And normally you wouldn't play Evelynn like this unless, you can play her like that in standard situations, but in standard situations sometimes it's actually fine to just stay with your team because the Agony's Embrace utility in a full out 5-on-5 to add the slow, get the big shield and whatever. But because of the conditions that are being presented, you have to come in from these two angles because you have to get a quick snipe and then you want to back off into their jungle. And the reason that I say you want to back off into their jungle is because you want to cut off, fallback route. Because if you can cut off Jinx or you kill Jinx, you kill Fizz, and then they can't back off through this jungle, they have to go up through here, right? Then your team can chase and you can meet them above the top tower and you create flank opportunity. So the whole thing is about you want to basically divide and conquer right now, but your only way to get a pick is to come in from these two angles, because if you come in from here, you can't do anything. It's like you're walking straight into their, into their concave. You come in from here, you're walking straight into their concave. There's no way for you to do anything. So your only options are to try to, you could come in from the top, but then they can kind of arc and protect by falling back into Wraiths. But by going into Wraiths, crap. Okay, by going into Wraiths, you successfully deny their biggest fallback. You know what I mean? And they don't want to fall back into the dead space of top lane because then it gives your team the arc. And if your team has the arc, then you can just, give up on the Baron dance and you can fall back to mid and you can push the minions back, even though it's super minion shoving. And then it counteracts their, their inhibitor being down. And then when you do that, then you can also, you can recall and then you can send Yorick straight down through river. And I can't see the timer because this page, but Dragon will be up, in a few minutes. So there's a lot of opportunity to be gained from that kind of angling. Make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So it's the general go in from this side, you mean? Or is this especially for Evelynn now?
Well, right. When you're behind or you have to make a pick or you're pressed to make a pick, you have to come in from these two angles if you're blue side.
Yeah, it's a general thing. Yeah.
It's a general thing.
Okay.
But if the game is like standard and stuff, you can totally come in from the regular routes with your team. Because then your Agony's Embrace does not become a pick, it becomes utility. Like right now, your Agony's Embrace DFG, it's not like right now it's meant to just you have to gimp one person. You have to get the 5v4. In standard situations, you use it to create the slow, put the shield on yourself, absorb some damage, and then turn into, trying to latch onto someone. So Evelynn's goal in teamfights changes depending on how the game is going. Also, it changes on team comps, how you're building Evelynn, and whatnot. But that's basically the overall goal right now. Also, you're running Flash over Ignite, so you also have the added utility, right? From if you come in from this way, if you come in through Wraiths, whatever, you can also go around onto Baron and threaten a Flash Smite.
Yeah, right.
So that's the added utility. Now I'm just going to reverse it because I have the minimap right here. So if you are, if you're purple side and they're going for Baron, how do you come in to Baron? Simply, you come in from this way. Even though it walks into the concave, it cuts off this fallback route into blue. Because it makes them go back into this, and you just want them to walk into the corner. Alternatively...
even if you're behind? I mean...
No, that's if you're behind, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And then you can come in like this. You can walk through mid and come in through this brush. Because that's something that just people won't expect. Right? And then also by coming in through this brush, when they're here and they want to fall back to here or here, again, it's all just about cutting off the cutoff points.
And the goal is to get 1-2 persons who are split off from the team, I think.
Right. Yes.
Because if you're behind, the team fight should be dangerous.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Yeah, now see, you have the shield up, but you're not going into the fight. You don't want to waste the shield right here. Even if you die, you have to go in, because that tankiness is just ultimately being wasted. And now you can jump onto Fizz. You haven't used DFG. Ooh.
Yeah.
Now you did, but used it relatively late. Always DFG before Agony's Embrace. Because you want the amplified percentage damage. Okay. Alright, so the big key mistakes were, in this game, because obviously the game's ending, after you and Zed capped mid, you didn't go top.
My stream froze, I think.
Oh, okay.
So
Skype?
maybe restart. Also, I'm in this config, but the stream is not working.
Stream? Like,
No, the
OBS?
screen on Skype, I mean.
Oh, okay.
Maybe restart it.
Yep. Okay.
Okay, nice.
Okay. So the big mistakes were, after you and Zed cap mid, you didn't rotate top. And that, it did a myriad of things, right, that I basically went in about. And by not doing that, you enabled what they basically did. They shoved top lane, bot was reshoved, they won a fight in mid, it snowballed out of control, and then this team comp, your team comp innately is a pick comp, because you're running Ed Evelynn, right? Even though Yorick's there, Yorick pick doesn't make any sense in this composition, to be completely honest. I feel like it doesn't make any sense. Additionally, you went bot twice when you shouldn't have. Bot was inherently losing, right? And when a lane is inherently losing, you don't try to assist that lane. Contrary to popular belief, if a lane is actually having trouble but it's already lost, you don't assist it. What you do instead is you snowball the lanes that are winning. You try to, you fight an extreme with an extreme. You know what I mean? Okay, well, bot get its ass kicked, well, your top get its ass kicked. So then they clash, you know what I mean, in the mid game. That's why, that's oftentimes why one death is considered a dead lane. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oftentimes, like, you just don't want to be bothered with it, because even if you go to bot lane, in the mid game when you did, even if you get a kill for Tristana and Alistar, what does that matter? Jinx is already up like 20-30 CS, so 12.5 CS is a kill. Doesn't really matter that she's dead. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like, she's still ahead, even though you got the kill. So not only okay, you got a kill, you helped out Tristana and Thresh, or Tristana and Alistar, but at the same time, you hurt yourself as the jungler. Like, yeah, you got some shared gold out of it with the assist gold, but you're behind. So even though you help Tristana and Alistar catch back up, you've set yourself behind unless you cap an objective or you cap some sort of landmark off it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like questions?
Yeah, especially about Evelynn. Can I always pick her, or is it maybe not the best idea?
Evelynn can
Since
always be picked. In my opinion, Evelynn can always be picked.
as an assassin then, or
Yeah. As an
okay,
assassin,
okay.
you can build her in a variety of ways depending on the team comp. You can build her Bork with Ronduins, and you can build tanky Evelynn.
Mm,
You can do that in a team that just needs damage to be 8. Because when you build her tanky, the Blade of the Ruin King is just because she deals percentage damage on her R, percentage damage now on her auto attacks, and the blade allows her to stick to people, right? Combo that with Blade of the Ruin King's attack speed buff and her E buff on her attack speed. It's just really, really sick. So that's one reason that Blade's good. But the other reason to building Evelynn tanky is because of her ultimate. So when you build her tank Evelynn with Blade of the Ruin King, you're basically saying that you're going to be in every team fight, ultiing 3 to 4 clumps of people whenever you can, and then staying in that team fight. And then the other thing is that it creates a bit of a problem for the enemy because oftentimes they're not used to facing tank Evelynn. So they try to kill her, but she doesn't die in the time that they expect her to die. And then it creates like problems because if Evelynn gets a kill or an assist, then she procs her W, and all of a sudden you have a master Yi running around basically that's like a tank. So playing tank Evelynn is really good in compositions that they just need stuff absorbed for them. Like you have a Vayne, or you have like a Lucian or a Jinx that just needs to be like protected so they can dish out damage. You have like an AP mid that isn't an assassin, like something like Syndra or like Orianna. Like you just need to peel for them, keep them safe, whatever. Orianna can put her ball on you, you run in, Agony's Embrace, the ball, Shockwave. Playing tank Evelynn's good. So just, you can always pick her as a jungle pick, but she can't always be played the same way.
Okay.
If you are, you should also factor in what color you are, when playing Evelynn, because obviously purple side favors her more because it supports the blue side into red buff, and then it creates a lot of pressure on top and mid lane because then top and mid both have to be worried about Evelynn. I would always prefer picking her on purple side. Also, you should look into doing the blue elixir starts. Those are pretty good. And then there's alternative builds. There's there's AD Evelynn, which is not a very common build, but it creates for some really unique stuff when you reach the mid game, because if she gets a successful gank in a lane, she can help take a tower really, really quick if she's like AD. So that's really, that's really nice. And then there's also the Evelynn that's being like experimented with on Korea, which is the Feral Fire Evelynn. Which
Okay.
Feral Fire, Malady, Blade of the Ruin King, Trinity Force, and then you finish off building her tank like Merc Treads and whatever. So yeah, just she can always be picked first, but there's different ways to play her, and each way supports a different play style. And the compositions, you just have to be cognitively aware of what it needs and requires out of her, because Evelynn, yeah, she's like a druid from WoW. She can fill multiple ways.
So it should be good. Yeah, sure. Even if I go assassin and I might fail and be behind, I should. Well, I can go tanky. I think that's.
Mhm.
I mean, okay. So.
Additionally, if you feel like if you're getting a really big lead, or whatever with Evelynn, like you get multiple kills early on, don't be afraid to get mobility boots on first recall. Like if the enemy jungler is a Fiddlesticks or an Amumu, or like a really slow jungler that's really prone to counter jungling, or you have a monster lead, like somehow you like went to a lane, you won a 2v2, you stole the enemy's red and blue buff off him, like at level 3, so your buffs get reset. Recall, don't get your jungler item, just get mobility boots and run straight into his jungle. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because those MOBA boots, it's basically, it's saying something. It's basically saying you're not going to jungle, you're not going to feel safe, and your lanes aren't going to feel safe. And who cares about not completing your Spirit Stone or getting your 2 long swords or getting your, your Fiendish Codex? Because he doesn't fucking have it either. You know what I mean? But what you do
Yeah,
have on him now is 100 movement speed every 5 seconds that you're out of combat. That's so scary when in synergy with your W.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yeah.
In addition to that, when you're facing really fast junglers, you might want to think about getting tier 2 boots a little bit faster to help out your lanes.
Okay.
And what I mean by really fast junglers are like a Lee Sin that recalls into Mobo boots fast, or like a Jarvan that can just jump through shit endlessly, a Vi that's like running movement quintessence and stuff. And another thing that I'm going to recommend on that topic is that when you're going into Q, as soon as you get into the loading screen, open up OpGG or LOL or the LOL Nexus and read the runes and masteries of the enemy jungler.
Yeah,
it
no
can tell you a
Nexus.
lot.
Is on that.
Yeah, because it can tell you a lot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Yeah, and just try that, try all that stuff out. Okay.
Yeah.
Other.
A lot of informations. That's good.
Yeah.
I try to work on it. Nice.
Okay. And use the F keys more. Be more
Yeah,
cognitive.
definitely.
Yeah. Be more cognitive about your item picks. Tab more
And
often.
passing. Yeah.
Right. Your passings. Be better about your buff control.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a point to be more on top of that. But also, again, think. Always be thinking 30 seconds into the future. Never, ever, ever think right now. Never. That is the worst mistake anyone can make in any MOBA. When you play chess, you do not think about the one piece that you're moving right now. You think about multiple pieces into the future, right?
Yeah, that's a good example.
The same way, League is just like chess, but it's with real time. Because no matter what, all these situations that you just had happen to you in this one game, it's going to come up again. I don't care if it takes 100 games or a fucking 1,000 games. It will come up again. And now you know the answer. So if mid is presented in the same way, now you know, go top. It's just like a chess move. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like knight to, a4. That's going to be the move that you do. And knight to a4 forces, I don't know, queen to whatever out of the opponent. And out of the opponent would be Fizz or Lee Sin being forced to come top, and by forcing them to come top, you create opportunity in mid and bot by having the lane shove and a 5v4 potential, because someone is forced to go top to deal with a check or something that you presented.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Yeah, so that's pretty much that. And then we'll do another session next week, I guess. If
Yeah,
that works
right.
for you. Okay, and
Sure.
we'll do it on
Okay.
support. So I know
Yeah,
you wanted to do
right.
support. Okay, all right, man. It was good. Do you have any other last questions or anything?
No, I think I have everything.
Okay, all right. I hope it was
Okay,
helpful.
cool.
All right.
Yeah,
Good.
sure. Good.
All right, man. Good luck.
Yeah, see you.
Bye.